There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show on a busy weather night. And there's a space launch tonight. We're going to talk about that too. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. And for you contractors out there, they are having a holiday lighting open house on Tuesday, October the 5th. At between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. And they're at 162 Ocean Avenue, also at 164 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. And the telephone number is 631-957-5106. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. And not just Christmas, but also Halloween. You got your skeletons right next to your Christmas wreath there. And whatever your ideas are with regards to making your house the best on the block, or maybe you want to make somebody else's house the best on the block, head to Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini. Also brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the phone number there for the best prices in town. Salt is going to be at a premium this coming winter, so they're going to be getting it in. And they will have the best prices around because their salt is mined here as opposed to being brought in from overseas. And as we know, there's bottlenecks, and everything's expensive. But they have Pelado and Mag Ice Pellets and Flakes at Omni True Value Hardware, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. So, Mr. Rayo, we bring us front and center here on the screen. There we go. And we are a little bit of history being made tonight, really, because we got this space launch, and for the first time, the average person is going up into this launch.
Well, I slightly beg to differ on that, Joe. The average person, really, the person who is funding this for these four people is a multi-billionaire.
All right, okay, hold on. All right, let me rephrase that. I don't mean what I mean by that is civilians, as opposed to astronauts.
Right. The gentleman who is funding this has spent approximately $25 million for each passenger, including himself. And the other thing that's interesting is that.
Please look at your screen.
I know. I'm trying to. I know. Yeah, I'm trying to fix it. I'm here. Go ahead.
All right. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we're talking about.
It still surprises me when I get something over that intercom here. All right. Actually, it's for a good cause. I believe that they're trying to raise awareness for St. Jude.
Correct.
Which is the children's hospital, which is a good cause. The only thing that bothers me, Joe, is that they're making it. They have all smiles on their faces, and I'm sure they're happy that they're going to go. But the fact is, space travel is not a joyride. Space travel is not something where you're going to go to the local amusement park, pay your way in, and get on the ride, and have the guy put the safety bar over you. Whether, even though it's been many years since the age of the Mercury and Gemini missions, to fly into space, to get up into an orbit, is still an amazingly difficult task. And I'm just hoping that everything goes well tonight. The gentleman there's no professional astronaut on board. One of the four civilians is a pilot, supposedly with many years of experience, and he is going to fly his crew into space. It's going to be at a higher orbit than the International Space Station, about 350 miles, as opposed to the space station's 240 miles. They're not going to dock with the space station. They're just going to go around the world over a 3-day period, and then I suppose they'll probably be coming back over the weekend. And Godspeed to them all, and hopefully nothing will go wrong, because again, it is always a very difficult task just to get yourself up and out into how did this atmosphere into Earth orbit? Now, what we're going to attempt to do is when we get close to the time of the launch, you will give me, I already have share screen capabilities, and I will share the screen of you from NASA TV or space.com so that we can all enjoy and watch this launch and hear this launch as it occurs. Scheduled time is 8:02 p.m., which is just about 25 minutes from now.
All right, so why don't we let's get the weather done and take a look at what's going on. Of course, it's kind of a busy night tonight. We've got severe weather, and at least for the next 23 minutes, we have severe thunderstorm watches up, basically from Pennsylvania to Maine. You're in one at the moment.
Yes.
You are in
Yes.
said severe thunderstorm watch. But it doesn't extend down to the coast, so it's as far east as northwestern New Jersey, and then through the Hudson Valley, and from there northward. So, but it starts off just south of Route 84 and then goes all the way up. But here we have it on the satellite tonight. I'm just going to try to center this picture a bit better. Hang on a second, folks. Just give me a moment here, and there we go. Okay, so on the satellite view, this is all, you got this frontal boundary that runs from Maine on south and west. At the bottom of this is what's left of Nicholas, continuing to produce heavy rain in the deep south. To the east of that, out in the Atlantic, we've got disturbed weather and a developing low well east of the Florida coast that looks a little better defined, but it still hasn't quite organized yet. I haven't really been able to see any kind of a low-level circulation, at least not yet. But first things first is the thunderstorm activity that's going on. And I noticed, Joe, on the radar, I'm going to give this a quick refresh because I think it's about 30 minutes old. So let's get a new shot up here. So this last frame on this loop is about from 6 minutes ago. There are there were a whole bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings earlier. There's only one working right now in southeast PA, and the rest of it, there are no other warnings up at the moment. There's some very strong cells crossing northwest Connecticut into central Massachusetts, also in eastern Maine, seeing some rather wicked-looking cells there. But I think the line might have peaked here. What do you think?
Well, we're at sunset right now, or just a bit beyond sunset. So diurnal heating has certainly reached its peak. And with that, whatever we see on the screen there will probably begin to diminish in the coming hours. Once again, yesterday as well as today, Joe, Storm Prediction Center putting the greatest threat for possible tornadic activity up across the upper Hudson Valley and southern sections of Vermont and into New Hampshire. Although, as you can see, most of southern New Hampshire at the moment is out free and clear. But this line, even though the separate cells are moving southwest to northeast, the entire line will be sagging slowly southward. The watch that's in effect for my zone, for Putnam County, remains in effect until 10 o'clock, with the assumption that that whole area will indeed sag south far enough into my area to possibly provide us with a bit of action here, maybe as we get on toward the 10 o'clock hour.
Except for the very northwest corner of New Jersey, that the entire state of New Jersey is not seeing anything right now. There were no renegade cells this afternoon. It was a very warm, very humid day, but that really set up the instability. The dew points, by God, they were in the low 70s, which is not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way. For now, at least on the radar, southeastern. Coastal southern New England, Long Island, down to Delaware and Maryland. Most of these areas are not seeing much of anything. You have to really go to western Maryland, where you start to see into some of the bigger cells. Also seeing a few big cells in south central PA, around and south of Harrisburg. Further south, I've got some rain here. So I actually have the moisture from Nicholas over me, Joe. It's been raining. It's been kind of dripping during the afternoon. It's gotten a little steadier this evening. Nothing especially heavy. That's all still to the south of me. although it is kind of trying to arc up to the northwest. But it just sort of reminds me of it almost feels like an overrunning rain outside. I don't think it got much above 70 here today. Some heavier rains down in the Florida Panhandle, also in southern Georgia. A few scattered showers going on in Florida. Also seeing some scattered showers in parts of West Virginia and eastern Kentucky this evening. A couple of thunderstorms in northeastern Arkansas, and we also have a few showers up in northern Minnesota and some scattered activity going on in parts of Montana and in Washington state. The Storm Prediction Center, they kind of lined up the slight risk yesterday almost perfectly to how it's playing out today. And here is I'm going to bring up the severe thunderstorm watch. I kind of looked at this, Joe, when they put this watch up. I don't think I've ever seen a watch this now. It wasn't yesterday or the day before. We had like the smallest severe thunderstorm watch they've ever issued to me anyway, that it looked like. And this one, it almost seems like they just looked at the watch that they already had up and they just wanted to add a bunch of counties to it. So that to me summarizes what this watch was, because that's sort of
It's about one half. It's about half the width of the one that's further to the north and west. You see there faintly, you can see the two aviation weather boxes, and then they extended that to the south and east. But the one that they made the extension to is only about half as wide, maybe not even half as wide
no,
as
it's
the
like a quarter.
quarter, maybe. Yeah, yeah. And so and as I said, that zone, that watch is in effect until 10 o'clock, and that may be because they expect that the area of showers and storms will sag, and I do mean sag, far enough south to reach into Putnam County by the 10 o'clock end time. So I guess that's what their reason is for having the watch continue until 10. And then after that, well, there may be thunderstorms, but I don't think with the cool down, the diurnal cooling, that the thunderstorms will be of the severe nature. They may be just regular thunderstorms, which may persist up until around the midnight hour tonight.
Yeah, I don't believe that they're going to put the one once the watches are done. I don't think they're going to be extending them further east. But some of those stronger cells may still hold up somewhat as they move through the coastal areas, and this weather front that's coming through, it's actually a good thing. Looking at everything that's going on, it's a good thing that this front is going to be stalling out right along the immediate coast, because that really sets up an alleyway for this system developing out in the Atlantic to kind of ride along that stationary boundary to the east and turn out to the east. If this front would have stalled out, say in central New York, down through east central PA, let's say just right along the I-81 corridor, just kind of stalled out over there. Then I think you could have certainly made a case for a coastal low to come straight up the coast, but that's not going to be the case here. It's going to be able to move up to about even with North Carolina, and then just slowly make the right turn and then move away to the east northeast, which I think is going to mean we will have a pretty decent weekend here in the northeast and down even through the middle and South Atlantic states. It should be a pretty nice weekend.
Last weekend of summer, Joe, officially. We move into autumn officially a week from today on the 22nd of September, and fall will be officially here. So enjoy, folks, your last official summer weekend. And as we just said, as Joe just mentioned, it looks like it'll be a fairly nice weekend, and it should, after some of the weekends that we had to deal with, starting with I'm sure none of you are ever going to forget Memorial Day weekend, where temperatures were only in the 50s, and we had clouds and continuous light to moderate rain, a very cool, damp start to the unofficial start to summer. And then, of course, we've had a number of weekends where they have been oppressively hot, humid, cloudy, rainy, showery. So it'll be nice to have a nice weekend to finish the summer off on this weekend.
Agreed. Totally agreed. The WPC folks are pretty much seeing it the same way Joe and I are with respect to the Atlantic coastal low, because if you notice where all the heavy precip is, it's way offshore. The little patches there of 3/4 of an inch to an inch, probably reflecting some of the thunderstorm activity for tonight, and also seeing some 3, 4, 5 inch or more rain amounts along the Gulf Coast from southeast Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle into southwestern Georgia over the next 7 days. I think most of this is front end loaded with Nicholas, but then that precip really sharply cuts off in western South Carolina, and then you go from there north and east. If you take out what's going on tonight and tomorrow, there really isn't going to be that much precip, if any at all, for Friday, and particularly for Saturday and Sunday. There might be some lingering showers around tomorrow along that frontal boundary, but I think we'll be able to squeeze out a dry day on Friday, and the weekend, I think, looks pretty much rain-free. So it's either now or never when it comes to whatever rainfall we're going to get, because it's here in the Northeast and Northern Mid-Atlantic states. It's mostly front-end loaded. Also, some substantial rains coming into the Pacific Northwest for the first time in a while. Some 3, 4, 5 inch rainfall amounts forecast there for the next 7 days, with the trough in the western part of the United States and the ridge mostly in the eastern part. And also seeing some rainfall up in the northern plains and into the western Great Lakes on the order of 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches over the next 7. The Hurricane Center, let's see if they updated their outlook, Joe. So we'll take a look at this. And are we up to? I'm not expecting them to change anything, and indeed, they have not disappointed me. So we've got two systems, 80 and 90% probability for the one that is southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Low pressure located several hundred miles. Environmental conditions are expected to remain conducive for development, blah, blah, blah. And a depression likely to form within the next couple of days. So they ran the tape there. And for the one in the Atlantic, low pressure system located midway between the Bahamas and Bermuda, producing poorly organized shower activity. An Air Force Reserve Hurricane Hunter aircraft investigating the system this afternoon, I didn't know they sent a plane out today, reported that the circulation was disorganized and that the strongest winds were well to the east of the center. Environmental conditions are expected to become more conducive for development, and a tropical depression is likely to form during the next day or two while the system moves north-northwest to northward off the southeast coast of the United States. So that makes that makes sense. And why don't we just check to see if we got some tracking model maps to look at here. So we'll go to tropical tidbits. Okay, so we've got 96L, I believe is, yeah, this is the one, 28.7, 73.1. And here are these are the model track guidance maps. So all taking it to the right, northeast and out into the open waters of the Atlantic. A couple of them make a close pass to southern Newfoundland, but they're all on the same page here. And as far as the other one goes, let's take a look there. And that would be Invest 95L. And we'll give the maps a minute. There we go. So on these, the hurricane, well, there's not a whole lot here in terms of the number of models. Generally west to west-northwest till it gets to about 15, somewhere between 50 and 20 north on only two models that make it out that far, between 50 and 20 north, 15 and 20 north, and at around 55 west in about 5 days' time. So that's a ways away. And we can also take a look at the model, the intensity guidance, and there's probably only going to be a limited number here, but just about all of them except for two strengthen this to a tropical storm. And Joe, you got a couple of them that take this up to a Cat 3, so we'll see if it gets there. We've just been watching these models out there with this for the last 4 or 5 days. It seems like every other run there's a hurricane on it, and then it's gone, and then on the next run it's gone. So we're sort of in that place right now where the models do their usual dancing around back and forth. Sound and fury signifying nothing is probably the best way to look at it.
Well, we still have a few more weeks of this to go. The peak, the traditional peak was September 10th, and I'm sure that from now until October 10th, we'll be seeing this dance continue for a while. And don't forget, of course, that Sandy it came on the 29th of October in the tri-state area. So it was a very late bloomer, if you will. And there still may be a few surprises down the road. It has been an active season, but certainly not anywhere near as active as what we saw last year. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, above normal, but not crazy. It was too busy last year trying to stay ahead of all that. You couldn't even catch your breath when one storm would die out, another one would form, and you had multiple ones going on, so you wound up having to pick and choose which ones you wanted to talk about. Anyhow, let's look at the upper air pattern going forward, and we'll start with today with this. This is not a shabby looking trough here, swinging across the Great Lakes and lifting up into southeastern Canada. So that's responsible for what's happening with regards to the severe weather. And of course, the system off the southeast coast. The problem is that the Atlantic Ridge is there to the east, but unlike what we saw with Henri, for example, the Atlantic Ridge was not building back northwestward into New England and southeastern Canada. It just kind of lays there. So this system just basically, even if it does develop, it'll just move around the periphery of that upper high and then go by to the northeast. And then going into next week, just watching this here, this is for Sunday. You've got a very deep trough coming into the Pacific Northwest. So that's going to punch up a ridge, a strong ridge in the Ohio Valley and mid-Atlantic states. And then you see it here going into Monday and Tuesday. We've got a pretty strong upper high there in the eastern part of the United States. It's stronger than any ridge I think that we've seen all summer, believe it or not. And that lasts probably through about Thursday, and then starts to break down. You get a trough that swings into eastern Canada, that lifts up, and then some ridging comes back, a deeper trough toward the end of the actually even sooner than the end of the forecast period, Joe. But right around day 11 or 12, this run of the GFS is driving down a pretty significant shortwave and trough into the eastern part of the United States. Now, I will say this. I'm just looking at this for the first time. So if this upper air is right, now, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's some kind of right there, okay? So right here, this is the reflection on this run. I'm thinking of the tropical system that's out off the African coast, or unless there's one behind it, which there is. So this trough drops down so very deep and pretty far south, if it's real. So this run of the GFS implies that something gets picked up and taken way out to the east. But I always get a little nervous when I see something like this. I don't know that it's going to verify, but it's kind of interesting that it is showing a trough this deep in the longer range.
Well, if it slows up a little bit, and we do indeed have that reflection of that tropical system will get a lot closer to the coast as opposed to what's being indicated now. So that's when now. This we're talking about around the
28th, 27th, 28th, 29th, toward the end of the month.
So it'll be something to watch, I guess.
Right. So then that lifts out. But until then, I don't know. There's not going to be much of a break in the humidity. I think the humidity this weekend it's not going to be like today. But it's not going to be, we're not going to see dew points down in the 40s either.
No, you would like to see that in September, but that is not going to happen in the immediate or foreseeable future, unfortunately.
No, not at all. So I'm just going to run through the surface. We're coming up on 7:56. Then we could quickly do Briller Jeopardy, and then we could watch the space launch. I assume there are no weather-related delays down in eastern. Let me look at the east coast. Where are they launching?
Florida, Cape Canaveral.
Okay, all the echoes are in western Florida, so there's no problems.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's not a whole lot of clouds there either, too. So that's good.
T-minus 7 minutes and 2 seconds and counting. And I'm amazed. I'm looking at the screen here, and something that we didn't see through all of the Apollo and Gemini and Mercury missions, and even through much of the space shuttle launches, they actually have a very clear picture of the inside of the space capsule, the command module containing the 4 astronauts, and you could see them quite clearly, all buckled in and all set to go in about 6.5 minutes.
All right. So you want to put it up on the screen now, or should I keep yapping?
Let's keep yapping for another couple of more minutes, and then I think we can go for a live picture, live coverage. I think we
Okay.
tried this once before with another rocket launch, but that launch was canceled just before liftoff. So
Right.
we're looking for first thoughts here on Joe and Joe.
All right, so just running through the GFS, the European was no different here. The moisture from Nicholas kind of just gets absorbed. It just disappears really when we move into Thursday and Friday. Now again, there might be some lingering showers. You can see the front and the showers and storms for tonight. They're still lingering on the coast tomorrow morning. The low is southeast of Hatteras by tomorrow evening, and then it just moves northeastward from there. So once it gets up far enough north, it'll start to bring down drier air. There's a nice high up in over Lake Superior, and that should make for a nice Saturday and a nice day. There might be just a few leftover clouds along the coast, I think, early on Saturday, but then we should see developing sunshine there. And then Sunday looks very good. Next chance after that looks like some kind of weak front approaches along about next Thursday. That it just about falls apart when it gets here. So the stronger front comes after that around the 26th, 27th, and there's a nice high, and there's even some blue snow there north of Lake Superior. We'll start getting close to that time of year, folks. Relatively speaking, before you know it, there'll be a lot more blue on the map, but that's assuming that the model is right with what it has with this deep trough in the long range, which I'm I'm a little suspect of, and Mr. Rayo is suspect of on that too.
Yeah.
All right, let me go. Let's go full screen. Tonight's Briller Jeopardy has a interesting theme to it, Mr. Rayo. It's Three Stooges. It's 7:59. What time is the launch? 8:03.
8:02. So
All right, so go ahead.
So let's try and make the switch here. I'm going to hit share screen, and that's what I want. That's the screen that I want. And how does that look?
Oh, fabulous.
Does that look?
Let me make sure.
Does that do anything if I maximize the screen here?
Try it. Okay, that's good. I can maximize. I can sort of make it bigger. Oh, that's beautiful. Perfect.
And let's turn on the sound, and let's sit back, relax.
Falcon 9 is nearly fully loaded with almost 1 million pounds of liquid kerosene and liquid oxygen. That liquid oxygen is what we see venting there, those white clouds.
Both of those things are terribly reassuring to smokers, by the way, just so we know.
And Kate, that strong back will move back just a couple of degrees. You see here.
You just saw one of the astronauts in the middle. I guess that's the commander giving a thumbs up.
Command to the ground to release it. Hydraulics will bring that strong back the rest of the way to about a 45-degree position at liftoff.
Stage 1 launch load complete.
We've got the call out right on time. First stage liquid oxygen loading is complete. Shutting down the ground pumps. We're down to just loading second stage liquid oxygen.
Building or position to terminal tank and is on internal power.
All right, there's that
Joe, short answer. Yes or no? Would you do this if they asked if you had the chance to?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely. You're talking to somebody who's going to get on the Dragon coaster at Ride Playland.
Gotcha. I figured.
Renata would go on. She would be on in a second, but not me.
Make sure she signs the paperwork before you leave.
Exactly.
That there can be seen on the right-hand side of your screen. Buckled in and ready to go.
I got 2 minutes and 5 seconds to go. You know, this is being done on behalf of, as I said, to bring awareness to St. Jude. I wonder if Marlo Thomas is there.
She might be, because that was her dad with Danny Thomas.
St. Jude was Danny Thomas's, the late Danny Thomas's
with all of its propellants.
Begin shortly. Expect loud venting.
creation, and after he passed, Marlo Thomas took over for him.
Vent off various lines on the launch pad. We'll hear some loud noises. Let the crew know that's planned. We're also right now draining liquid oxygen out of the transporter erector, draining the lines, getting ready for launch. Waiting for the startup call at T-minus 1 minute.
Joe, would you go on this?
No.
FPS is high.
Inspiration 4 is go for launch. Punch it, SpaceX.
Commander calling down. Punch it, SpaceX.
T-minus 15 seconds. Inspiration 4. Vehicles pitching downrange. Drone propulsion is on there.
T plus 30 seconds. Indicate nominal. The start mission flying the Inspiration 4 crew. Onboard Dragon and Captain A. With you of the crew in the capsule. We're into the throttle down, into the throttle bucket. Audio down to preparation for the period of maximum dynamic pressure. And the flight.
Supersonic.
This is a two-stage rocket. The first stage will, the main engine cutoff will be at about 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and then a few seconds after that, the second stage will fire.
We're through the period of maximum dynamic pressure. We're throttled back up, and 1 Bravo, the call out from space. That's one of the abort sequences. That is the nominal call. Everything continues to be good.
It's nerve-wracking to watch this, by the way.
For the crew.
Wow, that's just impressive. Look at that.
Okay, we have the call and that key is turned. Again, we get the total pump ready on the second stage engine for ignition. We're passing through 3 G's acceleration. Everything continues to look nominal.
I believe any moment now, the first stage will shut down, main engine cutoff, to be followed by the...
Rolling engines are throttling down for G limiting. 4 Gs, we're holding it there for the crew. Major event coming up will be main engine cutoff, followed by stage separation, looking at the second stage engine nozzle, and then ignition of the second stage.
And Nico. Stage separation complete.
Oh, we're approaching 100 kilometers now, and a speed of almost 6,800 kilometers.
ignited the Spetember engine. I'm sure the crew emitter kicked in the G's there as it ignited. Officially, the Inspiration 4 crew are now on their way to space. First stage booster there on the left-hand side of your screen is making its way back down to Earth. The grid fins have popped out to assist with the steering. It will be making a landing attempt on our drone ship. Just read the instructions, which is parked out in holding position in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, we have a couple of views on screen.
Signal Bermuda.
So this is
As Kate
interesting.
mentioned, left-hand side is the view from the top of our first stage looking down. That has already separated from the second stage and it's making its way back to Earth. The velocity of the first stage
SpaceX trajectory nominal
is being tracked on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen is a view of our second stage Merlin vacuum engine. On the opposite end of that engine is the second stage and the crew, which sits on top of the second stage. Everything looks to be going normally with them. And you can also track the velocity on the second stage on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. We also have awesome views of the crew inside of the capsule as well.
I'm pretty sure during first stage ascent, I saw Dr. Cyan Proctor. I'm pretty sure I saw Dr. Cyan Proctor give us 2 thumbs up. I'm sure she enjoyed this ride that she's been waiting for her entire life.
One notable thing too is we're getting some twilight views. The sun just set in Florida, but we're high enough up where the light around the horizon is also reflecting off of very high altitude objects, such as the first and second stages.
Dragon SpaceX trajectory nominal.
Love to hear that call out. Trajectory nominal from the guidance engineer. Also notice we're really up there now, well past 100 kilometers. Acquisition of signal, New Hampshire.
Just before that view switched, we saw some teammate fist bumps going on there inside of the cabin.
It's really
All right, Joe, I think
amazing.
you feel good about this. We can, they're up there, they're on their way into orbit. Congratulations to the 4, the crew of the Inspiration, and I guess what we can do now is we can go right back to our regular
scheduled
format,
programming. Yes. Oh, good Lord. Okay. So unshare.
Hang on for just a second here. Let me just stop sharing. And
A few minutes later, it'll execute a landing burn.
whoops, there we go. And now and there we are. We're back.
We're back.
And that was a first for us.
Yes, it
Our
was. We tried before, and they kept
televised
well.
launch.
Elon rang me the other day and said, "What time's good for you so that we could have the launch, carried live on the Joe and Joe show?" And I said, Elon, you know how I can't really move the show for you, so you're going to make sure. Yeah, if you do it around 8 o'clock, I think that works. And he was more than gracious.
Yes. So there we are.
Anyhow, okay, so let's do a little bit of Briller Jeopardy here, and this ought to be this ought to be fun. So the category tonight, Joe, it's R. But it's the category tonight is the Three Stooges. Are you all set?
Well,
Yes.
well, yes.
Okay, so question 1. This final new stooge had made his own series of comedy shorts for Columbia in the 1940s.
That would have to be, if it was the final stooge, it would have to be Joe DeRita. Or the clone of Curly Joe.
Right. Well, he wrote Curly here, so I'm not sure if he meant Curly or
Joe
DeRita.
Joe DeRita was the 6th stooge, and he came on board, I think, in the late 50s or early 60s, and he has often been called Curly
Joe. Right.
They called him Curly Joe. So
well, he kind of resembled the original Curly.
He was nowhere near as funny as Curly, but it was
right. This Oscar-nominated short from the Three Stooges shares its name from a 1997 film starring Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith.
Really?
Yes.
Um,
To which you'll
I don't.
respond, who's Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith?
Well, I know who Will Smith is. I know who Tommy Lee Jones is as well. I just don't know the name of the film that that shares the same name with a Stooge short.
An Oscar-nominated Stooge short. Men in
An
Black.
Oscar nominated.
Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Yes, Men in Black. All right, question
Yeah,
3.
It's hard to believe the Stooges actually had an Oscar nominated short.
Yeah, well, you know what? Laurel and Hardy actually they won an Oscar for a short subject for the I believe it was for the Music Box, the short titled "The Music Box," which is just hilarious. I know you've seen it, but they won an Academy Award for that, and actually Oliver Hardy was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I believe it was in the 1942 movie called The Kentuckian, and he got a supporting actor nomination for that movie. I don't know if it was 42 for some reason is standing in my head about this, but anyway.
Yeah.
The next one is what Stooge starred in the Three Stooges' first film, and then left only to return in 1946.
That would have to be Shemp.
Yes, it was
Shemp. Was Shemp left. Curly came in. Curly died. Shemp came back in to fill the role, to fill the hole that was caused by the death of Curly.
And you could see Shemp Howard was in, had a number of parts, small parts in movies along the way in the 30s and 40s, including, I believe, Abbott and Costello's In the Navy, I believe.
Right.
Right. Okay. Next, the real name of this Stooge is Jerome Hurwitz.
Oh, is that? I think that's Curly.
Correct. Which of the Three Stooges invented the eye poke?
It's said to be what?
Which of the Three Stooges invented the eye poke?
It could have been. I don't think it was Larry. I'm going to say Mo.
Actually, it was Shemp.
Shemp.
Yes, apparently it was Shemp. There is a three.
And I could remember watching the Three Stooges on Channel 11, and at the time the show was hosted by Officer Joe Bolton.
Joe Bolton.
And many times Joe Bolton actually had Mo Howard on the show to talk about how the Three Stooges were made and some of the characters, and Mo would always tell the kids who were watching, never ever try to poke somebody's eye out. He says it's all a trick, and he demonstrated
right.
how it's really like that instead of going like that.
Exactly. Believe it or not, there is a Stooges museum. What state is it in?
Could it be California?
Actually, Joe, it's fairly close. It's in Ambler, Pennsylvania, and at the museum you can play the game. You can play Whack the Mo, as opposed to Whack-a-Mole. Whack the Mo. Now let's see if you remember this. I actually remember this particular episode. In the short entitled "The Three Little Pigskins." Okay. What famous actress starred in that short?
Was it Lucille Ball?
It was indeed Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball.
Although I believe she was a blonde then.
Right.
But yes, she was in that. That was I believe that short was made in 1930, either 32 or 33. It was pretty early in the 30s.
She was only about 23, 24 when that.
Right. She was she was very young indeed. So there you have it. So we had a little bit of a different. That was the chairman went down a different road tonight. I think Bill Rogers had suggested that we do the Three Stooges, so we did it.
And my favorite Stooge was number 5. And that was, of course, Stinky from Abbott and Costello, the late, great Joe Besser, who was only a stooge for, I think, about a year or so before he left, and Curly Joe, or Joe DeRita, came in to become the 6th and final stooge. But I enjoyed Joe Besser a lot. And you better too, Joe, or I'm going to give you such a pinch.
Exactly. I always like the one where he runs in the Abbott and Costello show, and he's running out of the building. And he's like, out of my way, my room, I need a glass of water, my room's on fire. Oh. And he wore those Buster Brown shoes with the, with the big, the hat. Oh, Chris Costello, Lou Costello's daughter, I'm sure she will verify this, that her father, Lou Costello, was all, when he worked, they were filming all this stuff. Joe Besser was the only one that could get him to crack up,
to laugh,
to
crack up.
And I mean, when you just watch it with the whole thing with Stink, I'll harm you. And of course, if you're a Bugs Bunny lover, you know that in one of the rabbit season, duck seasons, the elephant, he says, the elephant gun, so why don't you go shoot some elephants? And he says, you do, and I'll give you such a pinch. That was a tribute to Joe Besser.
Oh, obviously.
Definitely.
The elephant takes like a fist and puts it on top of Elmer's head.
Right.
And the other one, he goes.
Exactly. Brandon Doherty was our super chat hitter tonight. And for that, Brandon, Joe and I thank you very, very much. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by the folks at Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, getting ready for winter, getting ready to get all the salt in. 631-756-1125 for the best prices in town. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. 631-957-5106. And don't forget, they have an open house for contractors. Those of you who want to do this as a business or have this as a business of holiday decorating on Tuesday, October 5th, 2021, from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. at 164 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, it's in their building. It's just one door down. So mark that down. And if you want more information on that, you can go to their website, liholidaylighting.com. So we'll see everybody tomorrow night. Oh, we got one more super chat hit. Who was that?
That's the chairman. Tomorrow night, 5 questions. Tomorrow night, 5 questions based upon the chairman's life. Good luck with that, Joe.
Oh, well.
Maybe the two of us will have to figure that one out.
All right.
Well, but one of us has to read the questions. But more importantly, Cooking Briller Jeopardy with Renata on Sunday. Aren't you excited about that?
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys.
I feel like Colbert when he was locked up in his office and he had the only one who was watching him was his wife.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Be safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Night, everybody.
Night. Yes.